And hello, welcome to Open, the show that's opening the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren, Jaime. Today, we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough and New York City. Coming up, as the holiday unfolds, we'll discuss the impact of the holiday blues on individuals and effective coping strategies. Then, we'll explore an organization dedicated to providing housing and services for senior citizens. Later, we'll talk about how the Bronx, Little Italy in particular, is offering a variety of gift baskets. And after that, we'll provide insights into tips and tricks recognizing and safeguarding against the latest scams and cybersecurity threats. Lastly, we sit with the publicist and entrepreneur discussing her career evolution and advice for aspiring PR professionals. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way, because right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime. You're now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Some things have been going on throughout the past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. And we kick off with transit news, congestion pricing, one major step closer to reality. The MTA board voted to approve a slate of congestion pricing tolls for vehicles entering Manhattan below 60th Street, putting the agency on track to begin collecting the fees late next spring. The tolls impose a $15 fee on passenger vehicles entering the zone between 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekends. Small trucks, buses, and vans face a $24 charge, while large trucks, including big rigs, will have to pay $36. Motorcycles will be tolled a $7.50 daytime fee. The tolling scheme does include a few exemptions. The MTA says additional exemptions would raise the cost of the base fare. The program, required by law, is generating about $1 billion a year. Drivers who make $50,000 a year or less won't have to pay for their first 10 trips into the zone each calendar month. Emergency vehicles, vehicles transporting people with disabilities, and drivers who live in the congestion zone and make $60,000 a year or less are exempt. Drivers who remain on the West Side Highway or the FDR Drive, they will avoid the charge. In other news, community leaders convened to combat domestic and gender-based violence. Attendees educated on the identifying signs of intimate partner violence, debunking common myths as well as misconceptions, as well as how to respond as an active bystander. Our Bronx reporter Kim Naleen has a story.
My message to every resident across our borough is love should never hurt.
The Bronx Borough President's Office partnered with NILAG and 36 organizations across the community to host a workshop recognizing the signs and dangers of domestic violence.
Today's violence intervention training is an opportunity to share best practices, warning signs. How do you identify what the signs could be of domestic and gender-based violence in all forms?
The training covered various forms of domestic violence and provided solutions for addressing it. Participants learned to recognize signs of intimate partner violence, debunk common myths and misconceptions, and how to respond appropriately as a bystander.
Just explaining, understanding what is violence. Someone could be in violence and not even know that they're being abused because maybe they don't see the scars or they're not being physically abused. Domestic violence comes in so many forms, and it can start just as a verbal and become an emotional thing, and a person can live in that emotional space for years without seeking help, without getting help, without talking to anybody because they don't realize that there's help out there.
With a $1 million grant from the Department of Justice, the NYPD, and more, community leaders say they are committed to addressing the issues of domestic violence facing vulnerable New Yorkers.
We have over 540 members of the service dedicated to domestic violence victims alone. And a lot of people are not aware. In every precinct, we have a domestic violence team that's willing to help any survivors at any given time. And they work relentlessly around the clock, just dedicated to victims themselves.
We're here to help, no judgment, no bias. We're just here. Before we put on a uniform, we are a mom, a sister, a dad, a brother. So we understand, and we just want the knowledge to get out that you're not alone in this situation.
The intervention workshop is just one part of Gibson's overall mission to ensure that DV Awareness Month remains an ongoing effort. To stay up to date with the borough president's events, visit the link below. Reporting for BronxNet, Kim and Aline.
And thank you, Kim. In community news, every day's a miracle. Opened its supermarket-style food pantry in the Fordham section of the Bronx. Our BronxNet reporter, Brittany Schuyler Albay, she has the details.
The ribbon has been cut on a new food pantry here in the Fordham section of the Bronx.
What we know, too many families are living in food deserts and lacking the necessary health and wellness that they truly need to live healthy lives.
But this isn't your standard food pantry. This is a supermarket-style pantry created by Every Day is a Miracle. Rather than picking up pre-made food bags at the pantry, families have the chance to choose the specific items they want, much like your average trip to the grocery store.
It will help our community basically have a better choice on choosing their food.
Executive Director Maria Torres told us more about this process.
They now could be able to shop around. We're also going to give them a member card. We're going to be serving family based on the household size.
As the Bronx sees a food insecurity rate of 19.7%, it is crucial now, more than ever, to have an organization like Every Day is a Miracle not just provide food to the community, but do it in a way that allows families to feel safe.
It's going to bring a lot of respect, I guess, dignity.
Torres encourages those in need to stop by the pantry and promises that everyone will feel, quote, valued and respected. Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler Albany.
And thank you, Brittany. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, and guess what? We'll have more open when we return.
Years of BronxNet, 4 years of Modern Odyssey, broadcasting stories that may inspire you, untold or underreported stories. BronxNet, your story is heard. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching Modern Odyssey on BronxNet.
And we are back. Some look forward to the year, I should say all year long, to the holidays. Now, for family, friends, food, festivities, it's all a part of the holiday gathering. It's a fun time, but for some, it's not universal. For many, the holidays can be also a trigger of feelings Stress, grief, anxiety, and fatigue, especially for those who are homebound and isolated and dealing with chronic illness. It can feel like an overwhelming time of year. Here now, discussing the signs of the holiday blues and sharing some advice on what to do if you or a loved one is experiencing these symptoms. We have geriatric mental health specialist at VNS Health, Beth Glick. And Beth, thank you for joining us. And I guess the first question we have is, like I mentioned in the intro, that for some it's not a good time of year when we get to the holidays. How prevalent is it in the number category?
I would say completely. I do not know one person that isn't affected by the holidays in an emotional sense. And I absolutely, not everyone can get together. And certainly everyone experiences their Christmas being different than it was. So between expectations, the feeling of loneliness, financial stress, the holidays can be really hard. So we're trying to do a very specific job as we do at this time every year to talk about the hard stuff as well, because just being stuck in the hard stuff and feeling like you're the only one can be lonely in itself.
To a person on the outside, sometimes you just don't know. You can just say something, you can do something, you can go somewhere. And all of a sudden, a trigger occurs in that loved one. What are some of the triggers and what are some of the things that we can know in this area? Because we don't want to be offensive to somebody, but yet and still, or not sensitive, but yet and still, we can just do something really basic and common, and that could be a trigger.
You know, that's a beautiful question because I hear in your question you're asking how do we be loving to others and just be aware and not push anyone's buttons. How do we be careful with other people, but also with ourselves? I would say that really talking directly and asking people or sharing your experience and asking other people, like, is there someone that you're missing this holiday season if you're talking to loved ones? How can we honor that person? And then within yourself, I think that really just, again, making awareness of it. Sometimes we just go on automatic mode and we are feeling signs of depression and we are not even realizing it. So, actually, just checking in with our own sleeping habits, eating habits, a loss of appetite, loss of interest in socializing, loss of interest in doing your everyday things is a good sign either in yourself or in others that you might be experiencing what we call the holiday blues. But for some people are clinical depression, whether you've been experiencing that in the past or it's just seasonal. The winter in itself is just a cold, darker season, and so it can really be good to check in with yourself and others and see how we're doing.
You know, Beth, I like the fact that you gave us some signs. I want to go a step further with that. So we see the signs. For a person that may be dealing with a loved one or a friend, how do you know it's the time to take it to the next level where help is required? Because sometimes we feel as though we can manage it and just talk and talk through. But other times we know that this is really, like we say around the block, above our pay grade. And we really need to get this to someone who can better assist.
I would say, and that's an incredible question, I would say that just 100% don't worry about whether it has to be a 5 alarm fire before that you get some help, right? We can look and seek support at any time. And I just want to put it out there that there is the number 988 now. So I work for VNS Health, and we have free mobile mental health uh, programs, and you can access us directly through VNS Health. But just in general, 988 is our new nationwide number, just like 911 or 311. It's just three numbers. And you can call it. And on the other end is local to your area, a counselor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can just talk to them if you're feeling lonely, right? If you don't have to worry about having some big diagnosis or really being at the end of your life before you talk to someone just for emotional support. So through 988, you can talk to a counselor, and they have resources, including ours at VNS Health. And you don't have to worry about, it getting too bad. Um, Remember that emotional support, also mental health care, therapy, lots of different words for it. Emotional support can happen from friends and family, but it can also be really hard to talk to friends and family who know you, who you feel like you don't want to share personal business with, who you are worried about their feelings. When you talk to a professional, you are getting that confidentiality, you're getting that space just for you that I really appreciate providing that.
If I'm out there and I'm trying to counsel, or just not even counsel, I'm talking to my friend is going through it, I know that they've experienced loss or grief or some trauma, I'm concerned. What are some
Mhm.
of the things I can say that could
Mhm.
be of assistance that might help to, just ride through the moment and get them, get them through?
Yeah, I think just letting someone know that you see them and that you are thinking about them, right? And asking for something what I call a bit of connection, which is just like, "Hey, how you doing? I know you lost your husband about 2 years this time last year, or and how are you doing with that? Are you looking to do something maybe together? Do you want to get a cup of coffee?" Right? So actually connection is so healing. And so offering some form of connection even in a small way. And we can do this over video. We can do this by sending cards. We can do this in a lot of different ways. So just letting your friends and family know that it's okay that you're someone that they can come to, and that also you have resources like 988 that they shouldn't be scared to use.
And 988, we know people can dial, get the assistance that they need, but also be able to walk in or call and get the help that you can in terms of dealing with the holiday blues. And when we see the holiday blues, what could be some telltale signs right off the bat that this person is a person with holiday blues?
Okay. Well, in our program, my program is GMHI VNS at VNS Health. We serve the Bronx, and we deal with people. We tend to people who are experiencing depression and anxiety all year round, and that can look very similar during the holidays if someone's just having holiday blues or seasonal blues, right? And so that does look like a change in eating, a change in sleep, a change in desire to do things, a change in ability to do things. Also, how you talk to yourself. If you're hearing yourself and you're saying, "I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't," sometimes we can get on ourselves. So really getting to notice, am I being nice to myself? If I'm not, that might be a sign that have some blues, whether that be all year round or the holiday blues.
Yeah, a lot to consider. And I mean, I think families, loved ones really just want their best for the person that they're interacting with. But sometimes it seems as though you're a mile away in terms of reaching. And when you're a
Mhm.
mile away in terms of reaching, that can be frustrating. Any last minute tips you want to give to a person that may be talking to someone to kind of like ease their frustration because you want to be able to get through, you want to be able to help somebody, you want to be there, but that person that's there sometimes becomes the doormat for some negative feelings and negative interactions on the part of the person they're trying to help.
Yeah, I I think that letting people in on your journey can also help, right? Because destigmatizing, letting people know that it's okay to reach out, letting people know that you've been through hard times and that you see somebody going through hard times, and that there's no shame in getting help. Calling you're 60 and older, you can call VNS Health, and talking to your loved ones, noticing our 60 and older adults that might be having a hard time with isolation, and saying, "Hey, listen, you might be hurting my feelings right now, but I know that behind this, maybe you just need some help for you. Can I help you make that call?" Um, or yeah, letting people know if you have any mental health care work yourself, what that is like for you. So I think that people feel really alone in getting services sometimes. We all kind of keep our healthcare secret, but if we let each other know that we're all out here doing the best we can for ourselves, then maybe that will help our friends and family.
Yeah, Beth Glick, you've been a great help, and hopefully somebody will take notes during this holiday season. And as we said, the holidays is always good for everybody, but certainly we got some tips to make it better. Thanks a lot, Beth.
Thank you.
All righty, now, if you want more information, visit the website at vnshealth.org. And don't forget that number that Beth gave, 988. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We'll be back more open coming up right after this.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. "55% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. "34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit bronxnet.org to learn more.
And we are back as we brace ourselves for a cold and wet winter in New York City. We turn our attention to the impact this can actually have on the city's most vulnerable populations, low-income older adults. Imagine being faced with the choice between paying for rent, food, and maybe even heat. In light of the challenges, HANAC, a not-for-profit organization with over 51 years of history of supporting vulnerable communities across New York City, stands out. Joining us now is the executive director at HANAC, Stacy Bliagos. And Stacy, good to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Glad to have you and glad to have this conversation because we do know the winter is really coming upon us and we know the worst is still yet to come. But for people who are out there, there are some opportunities. As I said, the interim, if you're stuck between paying a rent, car bill, all these other different things, trying to make it through, HANAC's available.
Yes, so HANAC has a history of helping older adults. We have been in the community, in the New York City community, since 1972. And I think what you said really hits the nail on the head, which is you've got winter coming in, you've got the temperature will be 30 degrees or less, and you have individuals that are low-income New Yorkers not necessarily knowing if they can pay their rent this month, or with the Con Ed prices going up, whether they can pay electricity, whether they can pay for heat. And then, of course, if you can't pay for those living expenses, then how would they pay for food and nutrition? So organizations like HANAC offer individuals, so we obviously, HANAC does affordable housing, low income for seniors, but at the same time, we have senior centers that help individuals come in, have a hot meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, combat social isolation. And then also we have programs where individuals can come in and say, do I meet these requirements to apply for a subsidy so that my Con Ed bill does not go up or that it's not that expensive? If you are a homeowner, we have a weatherization program that we come in and we help individuals lower their heating costs by looking at that boiler or making sure that the windows are insulated properly so that you don't lose, you don't have to pay so much money in gas and electric. So we do these programs do exist, and we are here to help the community and members and vulnerable members of the community. But I fear that there are times where people in the community don't know that these programs exist and don't know that organizations like HANAC exist. So it's important to get the word out to everyone so that if they are struggling, they can come to our offices and we can help them.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about transportation because that's a huge issue that so many people face. And while we're trying to navigate through the weather and how rough the weather can be just on city streets getting to and fro, transportation, a huge issue. How are you addressing the transportation problem?
We actually have a transportation program. It's called the East-West Connection, where we help older adults go to their medical appointments, go to the grocery store to buy food, and actually make sure that they get home and they don't, they have somebody there so that they don't fall on the ice if there's ice. If it's too cold, we actually help them get from one point to another without having to pay for car service, et cetera. So those services, and I'm glad you pointed that out, Daren, those services do exist, including transportation. We just want to get the word out that individuals aren't by themselves. Older adults are not by themselves. We can help them with social isolation. More importantly, though, or just as importantly, we can help them meet their needs and maintain their independence so that they can live in the communities that they help build.
Yeah. And when old man winter knocks, I know a lot of people are just trying to just navigate. Some people just stay home. Other people do self-isolate. And that can be potentially a problem. Not being ready for the season, if you will. I know that there's some work that you do in terms of weatherization. And so can you give us a little insight into the weatherization component and how that really plays a part in helping people be able to navigate the season?
Sure. So the weatherization program is actually, touched a little bit upon it. It actually helps individuals that are homeowners. They do an assessment of the whole house to see if they can reduce their costs by their gas and electric bill. So I can provide the phone number. We come in, we have a team that comes in and actually assesses your heating bill, your electric bill, and allows your home to be eco-friendly so that you don't waste so much money on your bills. In terms of combating social isolation, our social service programs are such that we help individuals with arts and crafts classes. We actually take individuals to see, if you're part of our older adult centers, we take individuals to see plays like the Radio City Rockettes. We actually make sure that these individuals do fun activities so that they're not socially isolated. And if they do want to be left alone and not partake in those activities, our staff actually calls them at home to make sure that they're okay. So there are an array of services that HANAC has that allows individuals to live independently. And that includes providing services to combat social isolation, but also providing services so that independence can be maintained in their communities. Financial independence.
Yeah, I like talking to people like yourself because you've got the boots on the ground to be able to give us the information that we need. Since COVID, where are you right now in terms of numbers? Are we seeing much more numbers since the COVID crisis, or are things pretty much tailoring back to normal?
We are seeing an increase in individuals using our services, and that is across all areas because people are coming back. And I think because the older adult population was so heavily impacted by COVID, individuals did abstain from coming, and they socially isolated themselves because there was a point where all of these grandparents couldn't even see their grandkids or they couldn't hug their children. And so now they're coming back. It is with the understanding though that organizations like ours, we do like to advertise or sort of encourage individuals to say, if you aren't feeling well, please stay at home. Whereas I think before, a lot of people would say, oh, I'm not feeling well, but I'm still going to come in. And now I think we all as a group just say, you know what, if you're not feeling well, We will help you. We will get you chicken soup. We will deliver that to you. But please stay at home so that you don't spread any virus. Because even you mentioned COVID, but now what's big with the older adult community is the RSV virus.
Right.
So I think that's important for individuals. And that, you know, what you mentioned, what I mentioned and what you mentioned is accurate. There, you know, people being educated about those vaccines are also really important. And so a lot of people aren't educated. And so it's important to say, you have access to healthcare. We'll actually take you to get your vaccine. But it is important for individuals to come to organizations like HANAC, to our organization, so we can help them. We have social workers that can help them and educate them to say, this is what you should be getting. This is what you should be doing. Let's make an appointment for you. Because even navigating the system to book an online appointment for a vaccine could be overwhelming for somebody. So it really is important for individuals to reach out to us, because we are here to help them and just help them live independently.
Stacy, a lot of information. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Stacy Bliagos, who is the executive director at HANAC. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Happy holidays.
All righty. Now, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website, hanac.org, and then follow them on HANAC, INC. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
I remember when the Bronx did not really have a media outlet properly representing the people of the Bronx.
BronxNet provides for the community by being a community where people can be empowered to share their voices.
We are in a really great place technologically. We've got all the resources that we need to be effective.
Whether it's through cameras, storytelling, editing, we have provided those services for 30 years.
BronxNet's mission is to be a voice for the community.
To educate, to inform, and to inspire.
And you can be a part of it. We've built studios for you.
And welcome back. As the holidays are approaching, right in the Bronx, Little Italy, there is one location that's actually presenting an enticing array of gift baskets, ideal for chefs and food enthusiasts and lovers of Italian cuisine. If you're any of that, put it on your shopping list. Join me now, the owner of Mike's Deli, David Greco. And David, good to see you again, brother.
Daren, how you doing, my man? How's everything?
Everything is well. Everything is well. Let me ask you a question. It's that time of year again. Things are kind of hectic for you. The public coming by and really, as we talked about, taking advantage of these gift baskets. And so for yourself, how does it work? Gift baskets during this time of year.
So first of all, our location is in the big market on Arthur Avenue, and I'm Mike's Deli. So when people come in, they get lunch, they get dinner, and they're picking up. We have baskets on display from $45 up to $1,500 on display. But we make it really easy for them, www.arthuravenue.com. That's our site. You could buy just a half a pound of prosciutto if you want. You could buy a gift basket. A lot of people are sending grandma down in Florida a gift, and it's really nice because you feel like you're helping family, friends, help their family. And it's kind of nice because it's our family working together to get it out there to your family.
And for yourself, yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, but for yourself, I mean, you've done this for generations, and down through the years, you've given it to families. We know the Yankees, everybody's taken a part in the food that you've had to offer. What makes things so special that people continue to gravitate years later?
So, Aaron, first of all, our whole motto at our business is the best quality, the best service. You're always going to keep the best customers. Now, yes, celebrities. I love my celebrity friends. They're friends. But they don't come before the grandmas or before the customers that come every week, because our customers are like a family. And that's what a lot of big businesses, when you talk about these corporate guys, they don't know your name. My people, the girl picks up the phone, she recognizes the guy's name from last year and right away knows you're going to do the same thing. and makes it seamless. We have Mr. Mealy. He's from New Jersey, but when you talk to him, you think he's an Italian guy from the Bronx. He calls. As soon as Mr. Mealy hears Anna's voice, she knows, oh, the same thing, and he'll add something, he'll deduct something, but it's like, it's a comfortable feeling. Some of our customers just love going to the site. We have a fairly new site again. We changed it. It makes it navigate very easy. ArthurAvenue.com. We are ArthurAvenue.com. Again, you can buy just a half a pound of prosciutto. You could buy a big gift basket. You can see behind me, one of the big baskets behind me, that's from Martin Scorsese. So some of my customers are a little finicky, but we make them happy, and that's what's important. Then the grandmas and all the old timers that come and visit us, we try to make them happy also.
You got it going on down there, I see. So let me ask you about this here. What are the favorites? What are people really saying, listen, I need to get this at home?
So it starts with gift baskets, where you have a gift basket that's a simple gift basket like this, where you can see there's a lot of good stuff in there. From cheeses, salamis, pasta, our sauce. Our sauce is not made commercially. We make it. We've been making it for 24 years. When you taste our sauce, you think Grandma made it. Then we have items like this. Made by Dolce & Gabbana. This is amazing. We have small ones, large ones, and people can't get these. So they're calling and saying, please ship my grandmother one. Then we have the bigger baskets, where they go to next level sizes. And again, they start from $45 up to $1,500. And people love our baskets because there's real stuff in there. We don't believe in fluff or fillers. What we're serving you is what we eat.
Yeah. Talk to me about preparation, because as the holidays are here, obviously, people are trying to get their hands on this. But what's it like for you, the preparation and getting ready for the holidays?
So we always are early birds. We start early and we finish late. Now it's even earlier and even later. And we have my children, even my employees are like my children. Some of them with me 24 years. Everybody knows how to pitch in the extra hand. It's all about teamwork and a good effort. And as the boss, if I don't lead by example, so I'm here extra early, I'm here extra late, and if I have to sweep, whatever it takes for my business, I'll do. A lot of people don't believe in that. I believe if it starts from the top. In Italian, they say, "O puzza cominciata dalla testa." If something stinks, it stinks from the top. But if something's good, it starts from the top. And we try to keep our group all together. We kind of eat, drink, and be happy while we're working, and we make it a great experience. When you come here to shop, it's an experience. But even working here, I have a kid, Lewis. He was with me 4 or 5 years ago when he was younger. I couldn't deal with the craziness. Now he loves it. So sometimes he's a waiter, sometimes he's a busboy, sometimes he's taking baskets to the car. But he's just so excited to be here, and he makes the best of it. I have people that are with me 24 years, like Pablo, heart and soul.
Well, I'll tell you, David, it's been great having you. Congratulations. And as the holidays come, keep feeding them, baby. That's all we can tell you. Thanks much.
Thank you very much. You make sure to come visit us, Aaron.
All right now.
Ciao, www.ArthurAvenue.com. Don't forget.
Yeah, you steal my thunder. I'm going to tell the people right now again. Now, listen, if you want more information, go ahead and see David. Visit him at the website, ArthurAvenue.com. And then on Instagram, Mike's Deli, Arthur Avenue. All right, don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Kat from the Kitty Rose Lifestyle, also from The Next Chapter, where we discuss shades of gray every week right here at BronxNet, Saturdays at 11 p.m. Wow, 30 years. 30 years of BronxNet public access television. I'm a girl from Brooklyn and came to the Bronx 25 years ago, started my journey on BronxNet on public access television in 2016, and BronxNet is where I got my start. BronxNet, I feel like, is a home away from home. They support all of my endeavors, and I wouldn't have been able to be on any of the other channels if it wasn't for the fundamentals that I learned right here at my start here at BronxNet. So I am so appreciative. My son says I should stop telling people I'm from Brooklyn because I've been here now, Bronx strong, for 22 years. So I'm so grateful, and I wish you much success in 30 years, 30 more, because public access is necessary so that people like myself can have a voice. Yes, BronxNet. It's your girl Kat from Kitty Rose. Check me out every Saturday at 11 p.m. right here, Channel 68, The Next Chapter, where we discuss shades of gray. Mwah.
And we are back as cyber threats become harder and harder for the everyday person to spot. Many of us are thinking about how can we spot and protect against latest scams, particularly with the holidays right around the corner. And listen, joining us now, the head of outreach at Cisco Talos, Nick Biasini. Nick, thanks so much for being with us. And as I say, the holidays here and got other holidays coming down the corner. What are we doing in terms of taking a look at this, because it's very real and it's a very real threat?
Yeah, thanks for having me. One of the things that I always like to bring up around the holidays is that age-old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it likely is. Be very wary of that email or that text message that you're getting offering you that incredible deal that just can't be beat. It's likely to be part of a scam. And unfortunately, this year, with the explosion of AI and ChatGPT, it's going to look really polished. There's no more grammatical errors. There's no more misspellings. It's going to look very legitimate and in some cases be targeted. And again, it's not just email anymore. It's text messages, it's phone calls, it's social media. They're going to go at you every possible way that they can.
And so what should people know in terms of how to deal? When you get a scam or you think you're being scammed, what are the first steps to take?
So there's a couple of things you can do, especially around the holidays. If you're going to be doing online shopping, doing things like making sure your software is up to date, update your phone, update your apps, update your computer. It's going to give you protection from security threats and give you the latest and greatest features. If you are going to be using a credit card online, think about using a service like Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or Google Pay that prevents you from giving your credit card out to the actual vendors. And then finally, if you're going to do shopping, although it might be a little bit more expensive, going to those larger, more reputable retailers, it's going to be less likely you're going to be scammed and a lot more likely you're going to get what you actually are paying for.
You talk about protecting your privacy. I think that's what everybody wants to do. Once you get scammed, it's so hard to recover, and sometimes it can take a long period of time. But prevention is always key. What can I do in terms of privacy prevention?
So one of the things that I like to call out, again, with AI and ChatGPT really taking off, is be wary of what you post publicly. These tools are built off of data that's publicly accessible. So the more information you post publicly, unfortunately, could be used against you by scammers in the future. And again, be skeptical of who you're communicating with. If you don't know who they are, be very wary of if they're sending you links or asking you specific questions.
Nick Biasini is the head of outreach at Cisco Talos and dealing with the threat intelligence team. Let's talk about that for a moment. What's the role of the threat intelligence team?
So I'm a member of Cisco Talos. We're the threat intelligence arm inside of Cisco. The easiest way to think about us is if you have a Cisco security product and it blocks something, it's because of our group. But what we really are is a group of researchers that are tasked with identifying bad activity on the internet. We find it, we block it, we talk about it, and we make sure that our customers are protected from it.
And so how does individuals get information on what's out there, what they should be paying attention to?
One of the things you can do is go to cisco.com/go/security. That'll give you all the information about our products, as well as give a link to our recently released year-in review report that gives those trends at a high level of the malicious activity we're seeing on the internet.
We talked about individuals. I want to take a time to talk also about businesses. A lot of small businesses watch our show and are quite familiar with the fact that this is the holiday season. Tips for small businesses during this time.
One of the things I always like to call out, especially around the holidays and around scams, is awareness of your brand. The last thing you want to see as a business owner is your logo or your company name being used in a scam or some other type of malicious activity. So try and do your best to protect your brand and make sure it doesn't get abused.
Can you give me a little insight? I hear all the time when it comes to those people who are scammers, they're always trying to potentially look for ransom. For somebody who may not be so familiar, can you give us a little bit of insight into what this ransom thing is all about?
Yeah, so what we typically see in those types of attacks is they're either going to steal your data, as in like take it off of your computer and then threaten to expose it if you don't pay a ransom, or they're going to deploy some sort of malware that's going to encrypt all the files on your system so you can't access them anymore, and then try and extort money out of you that way. So it's a tough challenge. Again, another thing, don't click links from people you don't know. Don't engage in conversations with people you don't know. Those types of things are the ways that these actors tend to get in.
And when they say these things, how realistic is it? Is it true? Do they have some information or do they have no information?
It really depends on the individual as well as the actor that's doing it. As I said before, with AI and ChatGPT, it's increasingly easy to get very personalized scams built, right? If ChatGPT or one of these other AI tools is able to scrape a bunch of private information about you, they can ask it questions and get decent information on ways to really make those scams look enticing to you.
So user awareness and education, very, very important. Talk to me about, as we're here in this time of year, how much more prevalent are we seeing these hackers and these scammers get at it?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is around this time of year, we see a lot of scams that are holiday focused, but that is far from the only type of scam that's out there. There's romance scams, there's business email scams, there's gift card scams. Unfortunately, there is an awful lot of scam activity out there today. So try and be a little bit skeptical. Be careful of the stuff you're clicking. Be careful of the emails you're opening, and make sure that you're trying to stay safe this holiday season.
And if somebody's hacked or they've been scammed, what is the first immediate step they should take?
First and foremost, if you've handed over information, you need to make sure that you fix it. So if you handed over bank information, call your bank. If you handed over usernames and passwords, start going in and changing all your passwords. It's also incredibly important to be running multi-factor authentication. That's that app on your phone or that text message that you get that says, hey, please enter this code after you entered your username and password. That'll really help you if somebody does end up stealing your identity or your credentials.
The multi-factor identification just did that just a little while ago. It was a little frustrating, but at the end, I had to walk away saying, listen, it's the thing that's going to keep me safe, and so just deal with it. So I think more and more people have to just deal with it and understand it's really out there to help you. So, Nick, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. All right, now for more information, visit the website cisco.com/security, and we encourage you, don't go anywhere. We're coming back with more Open right after this.
Congratulations, BronxNet, on 30 years. You started when I was born. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This is Verona, the dancing reporter for Create Your World, and I thank BronxNet for being here to help me produce my show.
This year, BronxNet Community Television needs your support. For more than 30 years, we've been providing community programming shows, education courses, and access to our world-class television studios, a place where Bronx residents can call home. Community leaders and organizations can share their ideas, stories, and passions for what matters to us. We are still going strong, working hard each day, building new studios, creating new jobs, and expanding our digital inclusion opportunities so that your voices can still be heard. Every dollar counts. Donate to BronxNet and keep the momentum going and continue building a better Bronx with BronxNet.
And welcome back. For over 2 decades, our last guest has been at the forefront of strategic relationship building, elevating rising stars, and collaborating with some of the biggest names in the celebrity stratosphere. Her influence extends beyond the borders, representing a bridge between popular culture and emerging markets. We're pleased to have publicist and entrepreneur Marie Driven with us. And Marie, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me this morning. I really appreciate it.
It's an honor. And to tell us a little bit about, your work, because you do the high-level celebrity, but then also you work with the independent artists as well. And so for you, public relations is like life.
It definitely is life. These people become your family, at the end of the day. Some you might say are sisters, brothers. But yeah, I work with High Level, and the name of the company is called Playbook MG. I work with High Level and I work with emerging artists. The reason why I work with emerging artists is because it's hard for them to have their own voice. And being that I've been doing this for a long time, um, I want to pave the way for them. It's not as easy as it is to work with a well-known celebrity because, I could just make a call and it's like, okay, yeah, they're on the show. But with emerging artists, it's a more, I want to say, complicated situation. It's about building them first, helping them understand that, people need to know who you are. We need to know your story. So, in order for them to know your story, we have to tell it. And that's what we've been doing for years. We've been telling these emerging artist stories for years, trying to get them out there. A lot of them have great stories. It's just they don't have a budget or they don't have the access to get to the right people. So that's why we open the doors for them so we can help them get to their best them.
And for yourself, I mean, it's been an evolution of sorts, right? You've gone and you've graduated into this level now where you're able to do both. Talk to us about your evolution and how you were able to do this.
It was being a salesperson. I was a salesperson first. I used to work for Mark Echo G Unit in my early 20s, and it allowed me to, understand the sales market. I worked with different brands, from low tier to high tier, just like, with the music world, right? Or in the entertainment industry, shall I say. You learn from different facets of life. So being a salesperson, I learned, okay, if I can sell some of these items that I wouldn't even buy personally, I'm sorry. And this is not even with Mark Echoes, like other brands I worked with that wasn't on that level, then I can sell. So I look at public relations as sales, to honestly tell you the truth, because I have to sell the client to the media. I have to sell them to the journalists. It's just what it is. So I'm still a salesperson to this day, That's how I view myself.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you have to sell because on the other side, somebody has to buy into the person that you're actually representing. Talk to us about the people that you represented, some of the big name clients. Who've they been?
I worked with Spice, Mr. Vegas. I worked with Papoose, DJ Magic. I worked with like several people. And if you're talking about the Caribbean culture, I basically touched it, the QQs of the world, Moyens, and I mean, it's just so much. Junior Reed, Sham, Movado, Serrani. I done work with like all of them, and Ricky Blaze. The reason why I touched the Caribbean community is because, when it comes to pop culture and hip hop, it's a little bit more easier to get them in front of the scene. When it comes to the Caribbean artists, yes, you may know them. You sing their music, but you don't know the face. So my story was to tell the story of who is behind this artist. And that's why, I started really connecting with the Caribbean culture, because I felt like there was a gap between, who people know and what they sing. And I felt like, okay, it's time to bridge that gap. Yes, I work with business owners. I have a company called Supplement that actually did the network a couple of months ago, a Black-owned insulated water bottle. I work with like several brands. I work with record labels as well. But my baby passion was always the Caribbean culture, because I felt like there was a gap of understanding and communication, and Playbook MG, we actually did that. we fused the gap together, and we're still doing it till this day.
One of the things we talk about in this industry is having a cultural awareness, because as you talk about representing the Caribbean and also other cultures, PR firms have to have that kind of cultural awareness. How have you built that into your work, and how's that paid off for you?
What's crazy about it? Once I do the introduction, it's a no-brainer, right? Earlier this year, I had Patrice Roberts. It's a soca artist. To me, she is the next one up. And I had the opportunity, to get her on stuff like the Grammy.com and all these things that, they wouldn't even know, about. They know about the artist, but they don't know about the artist, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, they heard the music. Because she was the one that had Drink Water and Mind My Business, which was the big thing during the pandemic. Like, you had Jada Pinkett Smith, you had Kelly Rowland, everybody singing the song, but they just did not know who the person was. I kind of felt like that. And once you start putting the face behind the brand and, everything together, and then you start saying, oh, cool, okay, great, all right, so it's all, and then on top of that, it's all about KPIs, right? If the artist got the numbers, who's going to say no? Only thing is if the artist's brand reputation is not where it needs to be. And that's the only thing. But other than that, it's just putting them, merging them together, because it's a Caribbean, I say Caribbean culture all the way through, because a lot of people, and like I said, I was telling somebody this in an interview the other day, there's a lot of us that's in the media world that are actually Caribbean. It's crazy because when you look at it, we're everywhere. Sometimes people don't know how to merge the two, right? So it's about merging.
And I want to talk for a second about, you, and I want to talk about the Caribbean culture in a second. But I also want to talk about you for a second, because somebody's out there watching and say, listen, I like her, what I see. She's got the goods in terms of the clientele. She's got people that really she can put on. For somebody who wants to do this, give me some insight as to how do they get a career in public relations? What are some of the things they need to know to follow them, like blaze the trail like you've done?
I think that you need, I always say, hustle. You have to want to do this. You have to love people too. You can't just come in here for a paycheck, because it's not going to work for you. You have to come in here understanding that this is what you want to do. You want to connect with people. You want to change lives. When I came in here, I wanted to change lives. That was my main goal. I didn't even look for a paycheck. I was like, you know what? I see there's a gap missing, and I want to make sure that I'm the one that changed it. And when you look at the Caribbean culture, if you look at Caribbean artists, you can go to Playbook and you'll see, okay, yeah, Marie Driven, they're going to come to me. People recommend me all the time. There's artists I never met and I worked with. I just recently came back from Jamaica, and I met some of my clients that I never seen in Jamaica. I called them up. I'm like, I'm here. Hey, let's meet up. I want to see your face. So, you have to have drive. You have to have passion. You cannot give up. You can't take no for an answer. You have to find a way to kick that door down. Yes, it's going to be painful. It might hurt your gut when you hear no, but that's only supposed to make you stronger so you can get that yes. And that's what I've been doing for years. And also work with a company and a team that has your back. Like, my team has my back. I'm happy to have like a Gene Jones and a Sarah and PG and, all the people that's on my team, Jason. I love, having a team that sees my vision and wants to help with that vision and bring it to light. So have good people around you and have that mentality of, I'm going in to win, and don't let nobody tell you no.
Yeah. Marie Driven, we got to leave it there, but I want to thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on a great career so far and the work that you continue to do to put people out there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Well, I want to let you know, if you want more information, follow her on Instagram at Marie Driven. Coming to the end of our show today, I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, and most of all you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast, Optimum, Channel 67, Verizon Files, Channel 2133, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. Of course, you can catch a brand new episode of Open with my girl, Rena Valentine, on Friday. This wraps up this particular episode. I am Daren Jaime telling you, make sure, keep this channel wide open. Say, take care. God bless. Talk to you soon.